what is self-care? Self-care is that holistic approach where we take care of ourselves. We put ourselves first. Self-care is not selfish. It's the understanding and being self-aware of your own needs and what you need to do to actually meet them. That is, it seems like a broad definition of self-care, but really when you narrow it down, self-care, self, you, and your care, you can't really give from an empty cup. What you can give from is the fact that you've taken care of you so that you can then pour out to others. And that's the way we should look at it. We should, one, really make sure that we have set the boundaries and put the limiting factors in place that actually help and guide us. I just call them from time to time. I say, I better go and check the fence because I want to make sure that I've put boundaries in place. I've been for a very large conference recently, and I've had to make sure that I knew that there were certain boundaries because I didn't want to have too much stressors, unmanageable stressors. Yes, there were a few. Yes, there were a few anxious moments, and I embraced that emotion. And so we should. But the way that I actually dealt with that was to use gratitude and positive thinking. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. When I was working through the conference, and I mean, running, walking, whatever, 10K a day throughout this whole conference, literally. And I recorded that on my smartwatch. And I can say to you that I had to really think about how I'm going to rest. What is my nutrition? So I was actually thinking about my self-care on a daily basis. And this is how we should all be thinking, taking that holistic approach. I'm a holistic mindset coach, and that is what I believe in doing, taking that, whether you want to call it the helicopter view or the all-round view, but it is an absolute holistic approach every single day. What are we doing to help us self-care? What are we doing for ourselves? How are we managing that? So in all of my walking around, the exercise, I had to make sure that I was sleeping well, getting enough sleep. I was also making sure that my body was being nutritionally fed throughout the day. It is something that is so important that you have to actually be able to say, hold on a second, stop. This situation is challenging. And as I said earlier, I experienced triggers and stressors that caused anxiety at one point because we were just not meeting a deadline and I knew the expense that was coming. But when it got close to the deadline time, I was grateful. I was able to turn that into a gratitude because I had help. I had someone with me to work through the problem. And I was really grateful for that. And then I started looking at the positives of all of that. It was amazing. It was fantastic. So in all of that, guys, I really want us to understand that self-care is something that we should be doing continually for ourselves. So how did I manage the self-care after the conference? I took time to reflect. I took time to meditate. I took time to just walk and be about in nature so that I was able to think. And yes, I enjoyed some good quality rest and exercise. So I just want to give you those few tips, guys, that really and truly, self-care is not selfish. It is something that we need to think about holistically every single day.